Though Edward was a terrifying man who had led a brutal conquest of Wales just a few years earlier, he had more or less been friendly to Scotland, and the nobles felt they could trust his judgment. But old Eddie Longshanks had secretly been waiting for this exact opportunity. We are live with the finale of Who Wants to Be the King of Scotland, and in just a few moments, we'll finally know who will be crowned as our king. Coming to the stage, not to be confused with his son or grandson with the exact same name, Robert the Bruce. Judge number 1, King Edward, your question please. If you are made King of Scotland, would you swear your loyalty to me? No, of course not. Scotland must be ruled by Scots. Good answer. John Balliol, same question. Maybe, I guess. John Balliol is King of Scotland. Wait, what? See, Edward had always wanted Scotland, but Alexander was a good king who was loved by his people. If he'd attempted an invasion earlier, the Scots would have fought tooth and nail to defend their home. But a new king, especially a weak one like John Balliol, could easily be made into a puppet. And that's exactly what Edward set out to do. Balliol was initially pumped to be the king, but Longshanks does not treat him as an equal, and time again, the new Scottish monarch is humiliated in front of his people. Eventually, King Edward demands a draft of local Scotsmen to help him in his war against the French. Balliol realizes that complying would fully admit that Scotland was nothing but a vassal state to England. With nothing left to lose, Balliol does the unthinkable and requests help from the King of France to stand up to King Edward. Word of this alliance reaches Longshanks, and he's enraged. A vassal state allying with his greatest enemy could simply not go unpunished, and so he readies his army and begins plans for an invasion into Scotland. John Balliol frantically calls upon his nobles to raise their armies to defend the homeland, but the Bruce family rejects his call. See, the Bruces were all still salty about not being the King of Scotland, and they refused to accept Balliol as their legitimate king. In response, Balliol and his supporters, mainly the Cummins clan, confiscate their lands and later attack the Bruces while they're sheltering in England as revenge for their betrayal. King Edward begins his invasion in 1296, and the Scottish armies can do little to stop him. Longshanks is ruthless, and in March, he storms his army into the town of Berwick and slaughters 17,000 civilians. The following month, his mounted knights go toe-to-toe with the best Scotland has to offer at the Battle of Dunbar, and it's another blowout. Over 100 Scottish knights and nobles are captured, and soon John Balliol is forced to surrender. In a public humiliation ceremony, King Edward rips Balliol's royal garments and leaves him standing naked in front of the crowd. He then steals the sacred Stone of Destiny from Scone that had been used to crown Scottish kings for centuries. Edward officially declares Scotland a province of England and returns home with the Stone of Destiny and his prisoners. With the war for independence seemingly lost, 1,500 Scottish nobles pledged their loyalty to King Edward, and amongst them is the youngest Robert the Bruce, the grandson of Robert the Competitor. Though he shared the same name as his father and grandfather, this Robert was different. Since he was a child, he had drunk the Kool-Aid that the Bruces were the rightful kings of Scotland. He was initially okay sitting and waiting for Edward to make him a vassal king, but soon he grew impatient, and in 1297 he and some other nobles led a revolt against King Edward. But before a single battle, they sign a treaty and he joins the English again. Later that year, a minor